Chris Grier is staying on as the Miami Dolphins general manager, and his plate is overflowing with challenges. The priority? Fixing the salary cap mess before free agency kicks off in March. The Dolphins are roughly $2 million over the cap, which isn't catastrophic, but it's no cakewalk either. Sure, the NFL cap might rise thanks to TV deal revenues, but that's not something Grier can just bank on. Instead, he's left juggling contracts that have grown cumbersome, especially ones he himself handed out. The real issue lies in last year's massive deals. Take quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, for instance. His cap number is jumping from $9 million to over $30 million. Add in the contracts given to veterans like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey. Yes, both players are stars, but were those new contracts really necessary? Hill and Ramsey were already locked in for a year or two before Grier stepped in to renegotiate. Those decisions might have smoothed over the cap in the short term, but they've tied the team's hands now. Worse, Hill and Ramsey have both hinted at wanting out. Hill's situation, in particular, is frustrating. He's reportedly unhappy and has stirred the pot with social media antics and a questionable performance attitude. Take Hill's actions during the final game against the Jets. Sure, he played through a wrist injury that might have required season-ending surgery, and that's commendable. But refusing to play in the fourth quarter? That's a hard pill to swallow. Hill could be a trade option, but moving him would slam the Dolphins with significant cap penalties. Then there's Ramsey. While he hasn't been as public about his dissatisfaction, rumblings suggest he's not entirely happy either. It begs the question, why give these guys bigger deals if the team isn't going to reap long-term rewards? The issues don't stop there. Grier dished out hefty contracts to Terron Armstead and Bradley Chubb in 2022. While Armstead is an elite talent, his durability is a glaring concern. The Dolphins restructured his deal last year, which complicates cutting ties with him. If Armstead retires now, the Dolphins could still take a cap hit. Releasing him after June 1st might lessen the blow, but it creates a gaping hole on the offensive line. Patrick Paul could step up, but that's assuming a lot for a young player. Chubb, on the other hand, is coming off a long-term injury. The Dolphins could cut him too, but with so many holes already, can they afford to lose yet another piece? Some cuts could free up minor cap space. Players like Raheem Mostert and Durham Smythe, who had down years, or Tanner Conner, who hasn't developed as hoped, might be on the chopping block. But here's where Grier's approach raises eyebrows. He's got this habit of holding onto players who clearly aren't progressing. Conner is a prime example. Skylar Thompson, another one, seems to be stuck in reverse. And when Grier brags about getting calls from other teams for players like Keon Smith, who hasn't even seen the field, it's frustrating. If those offers are real, why not take them? At least get something back instead of clinging to false hope. The lack of draft picks in recent years is also glaring. Outside of Devon Achane, the 2022 and 2023 draft classes didn't produce much, and now the team is feeling the pain. With key players like Christian Wilkins, Robert Hunt, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Brandon Jones walking in free agency, Grier's inability to plan ahead is catching up to him. These are foundational players, and their absence leaves major gaps. And let's not forget the backup quarterback situation. It was clear this summer that the Dolphins needed one, but Grier dropped the ball there too. He mentioned being runner-up for a couple of quarterbacks on the market, but being second doesn't count for anything. He could have been more aggressive, whether in trades, late draft picks, or other avenues, but instead, the Dolphins were left exposed. Grier's aggressive trades for stars like Hill, Ramsey, and Chubb were bold, but they've come at a cost. Losing draft picks, especially the first and third rounders forfeited due to the tampering scandal, has left the roster top-heavy and thin on young talent. Now, Grier has up to 10 picks in the upcoming draft. This is his moment of truth. He must nail this draft. There's no room for error, no time for projects that don't pan out. These picks need to fill immediate needs and bolster a team that's already stretched thin against the cap. One obvious area to address is the offensive line. It's in shambles, with few players under contract and even fewer who inspire confidence. Sure, Patrick Paul and Austin Jackson might return, but beyond that, the line needs serious reinforcements. The same goes for the defensive line. The Dolphins need someone to play opposite Zach Sealer, someone who can bring consistent pressure and improve the run defense. Fixing the trenches could have a ripple effect, better protection for Tua, a more productive run game, and a defense capable of forcing turnovers.